Welcome to the Three Questions webcast series. I'm Wayne Baxter, Senior Executive Manager with One Capital Management. On this edition of the webcast, we're going to be asking the three questions you should ask before you hire a medical advocate. Thank you for taking time to check us out. And if you enjoy this webcast, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. One Capital Management, we develop and implement strategies for our clients which strive to grow, protect, and ultimately distribute their wealth. And we do that by offering investment wealth management services. Our clients are often referred to as cross-border clients. Now, why would that be? Well, it's because they're either U.S. or Canadian residents who invest in U.S. and or Canadian dollar-denominated securities like stocks, bonds, or ETFs. Our process for advising our clients includes an in-depth discovery and diagnostic analysis of their wealth management goals and objectives. Now, wealth management is multifaceted, and there are several areas beyond investment and retirement planning that need to be discussed and considered. In capital management, we call that process advanced planning. Under the advanced planning umbrella, we would include an in-depth risk management review, or if you prefer, a review of your non-investment risks that a family is likely to face as time goes by. On this episode of the Three Questions webcast, we're going to discuss medical navigation and patient advocacy. And to provide some clarity and guidance on that topic, I've invited a board-certified patient advocate who is also a board-certified physical medicine and rehabilitation physician who provides medical navigation and patient advocacy services. On this edition of the webcast, we're going to ask the three questions you should ask before hiring a medical advocate. Joining me is New York-based Dr. Gerda Maissel. Dr. Maissel is a physician founder of MyMD Advisor, a medical navigation and patient advocacy service. She guides people with complex health problems through the care maze and is fluent in doctor speak. Dr. Maissel, thank you for taking time to join us today on the webcast.
Hello, Wayne, and hello, listeners. Thank you for having me today.
I really appreciate you making time for us today. And before we get to our questions, I think our audience would probably be interested in learning more about MyMD Advisor and the services provided, and what motivated you to create this service.
Well, in MyMD Advisor, I am a patient advocate and I navigate people through the healthcare maze. What motivated me was my work both as a physician and my work as a health system leader. And I saw so many families and patients that were confused and overwhelmed and unhappy with care. And often it was just not knowing what to expect, not knowing who to trust, not knowing what question to ask to which person.
Okay, so you're aware that this webcast we have, Three Questions webcast, we have a cross-border audience. We have listeners in both Canada and the United States. So one more question. Can you assist Canadian-based families? If someone's listening in from Toronto or Vancouver or Halifax, Nova Scotia, or somewhere across the country in Canada, could they reach out to you?
They certainly can, although my expertise when it comes to the medical navigation and the economic drivers is stronger for the American healthcare system. But good medical care is the same wherever you are in the world. Medical diseases and illnesses are the same. The treatments and the workups are very much the same between the United States and Canada.
Well, that's good to know. So the folks listening in from Canada, if you have a family matter related to your loved one's care, Dr. Maissel can be a great resource for you. What I'll say right now from the very beginning when we first connected, what really impressed me is your commitment to assisting families who are overwhelmed with their loved one's medical issues, whether it's because they're worried about their loved one's care at a hospital, in a rehab center, or a nursing home, or are frustrated with medical care and they're not sure what to turn. What I find what you provide is an amazing service. And based on our discussions leading up to our webcast, it became clear to me that a discussion regarding medical navigation or patient advocacy would be very complex. So we can only cover so much in one webcast. So let's just start with the basics today. And with that being the case, let's basically go over the three questions you should ask before you hire a medical advocate. I mean, I will say right now, in the discussions we have, we could go on down many different rabbit holes, but I think for today, let's start square one, and then we can pick it up on another occasion or occasions to go into some different topics. So the first question you should ask, I think we both agreed on, is to ask somebody before you hire a medical advocate is, what is your experience? I'd like you to sort of share your thoughts on that and why that's important.
Well, sure. This is a field that is really evolving. And so you're going to see people from a wide variety of backgrounds. And while it's good to find out that somebody's a board certified patient advocate, even within that, there's going to be a wide array of people. You'll find some people like myself that are physicians, you'll find some nurses, you'll find social workers, and you'll even find some people that don't have a medical background that are doing some of this advocacy. And that may or may not be a good fit for you. And so, like with any professional that you might hire, you want to understand what their experience is, what their knowledge base is, so that you can get a good match for yourself and your family.
So in an instance, and I guess I can just use personal instances, personal family matters, if you have a loved one who's been hospitalized and they're looking for care, it would seem to me that they're getting medical treatment, that obviously having speaking to another medical professional would make sense. What happens when the time comes to move them from where they're getting like actual medical care into, say, a rehab or into sort of like a facility beyond surgeries, beyond the care, and they're in a rehab? Would that still follow under the sort of your umbrella, or would you defer to somebody else for that?
Oh, no, very much so. Even if I start with a client in the hospital, sometimes the care in the hospital is difficult, but sometimes it's the care in the rehab or the nursing home or the assisted living. And so the services from a medical advocate really don't matter what the setting is. What you're really solving for is how to get this person the best care in the best place. And sometimes you can't change the place, but you can influence the care.
Very interesting. I actually, in our own personal life, we had a matter with one of our family members where that had become an issue. So noted for going forward on that one. Okay, great answer. Thank you on that one. So the second question is, how do you charge for your services, for the services you provide? Why is
So
that such an, I mean, it sounds rather obvious, but why would you say that would be like such an important question? Is there a wide range in what people do charge for these services?
So, yes and no. Part of why I think it's important is that many people are hopeful that insurance will cover medical advocacy services.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, at least in America, there is no coverage. Sometimes insurance companies provide a care manager, but often those services are really things like, Mrs. Jones, here's your appointment, remember to go to it, which is really quite different from, let's discuss your medical goals and concerns, understand your background, and help you speak in the best possible way with your doctor so that you really understand and have lots of choices. So unfortunately, insurance does not cover our services. So people just need to be aware that it's a private pay service. Personally, when I work with somebody that is really in a difficult position, I will often discount, but not everybody does. And whenever you're looking at hiring a professional, you should understand, how do they want to get paid? Do they charge extra for weekends? Do they charge extra for nights? Are they available on holidays? Everybody's a little bit different. There's no set way that advocates work. And so before you hire somebody, you want to make sure that the way they work, their background, and how they charge makes sense to you.
Okay, and on that note, I guess as a follow up to that, and I'll speak specifically to you, when you are brought into a situation where you can tell that this isn't a one off discussion where you just need to maybe just calm the waves a little bit, and but if you can tell that you're going to be needed over an extended period of time, do you charge like a retainer up front and say, okay, here's or do you merely go by hourly? Do you have a preference one way or the other?
Well, so my own practice is do a retainer, but it's completely refundable for unused hours.
Hmm.
I do that personally because I like to focus on providing the service and not running around chasing people,
Right.
after the fact. But that's purely my style. Some
Hmm.
people work differently. There is no set way. There are
Understood.
some people that charge a monthly fee. And as part of that monthly fee, you get access evenings and weekends. I personally I don't do that. I choose to simply charge for the time used, but every advocate is going to be different.
And you're literally advising families anywhere, as we talked about, you are available for Canadians, but obviously you're working with people, not just obviously in New York, but across the United States as well.
That's right. While
So
I'm a licensed
time zones aren't necessarily a major issue for the most part for you.
No, and so while I'm a licensed physician in New York, I have found, sorry, let me back up. I'm a licensed physician in New York, but I work across the country because I'm not working as the individual's doctor. I'm
Understood.
advising them on their relationships with their doctors and trying to make those relationships better.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work anywhere in the country. And in terms of people calling me at all hours, occasionally I have people that land in the emergency room and I want them to call me, even if it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Interesting.
that's my style. Not everybody's going to be like that. Some
Understood.
people want to work business hours. For me, I'm used to working different hours, and I've also found my clients are incredibly considerate. I have never had anybody call me at 1 in the morning unless it was something really urgent.
Major hair on fire issue. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you on clarifying on that. The third question, I think this is probably helpful for folks listening because these titles can be confusing. What is the difference, Dr. Maissel, between an advocate and a geriatric care manager?
So that's a great question. And the answer is there's a lot of overlap. Many geriatric care managers are terrific advocates, and many advocates do a certain amount of care management. So, what do those terms mean? Advocacy is helping somebody set their goals, speaking up for them, and care management is coordinating all the pieces of care. One way, though, to think about the difference is geriatric care managers have been around for longer, actually, than advocates. They are well established and they're well known. Geriatric care managers are almost always local. So you have a lot of different geriatric care managers, and a geriatric care manager is going to look at broadly the person's life. If, let's say you hire a geriatric care manager for your mom, well, perhaps mom needs the cat food delivered. The mom needs transportation to an appointment. Mom needs a new roof on the house. A geriatric care manager is going to look at all aspects of mom's life and help coordinate all the pieces that go into mom successfully aging where she is. As a medical advocate, I may work with a geriatric care manager who's local, but I'm going to be focusing on what are the medical issues, what are the communication issues, what are the medical goals, how do we speak to which doctor about which issue, and how do we settle conflicting goals within the family for medical issues. I'm doing translation of medical terms. I'm explaining the medical subtext, which is often something that unless you're a physician, you don't speak doctor and you can't explain what the doctor was implying. So they're overlapping but different roles.
That's interesting when you just talked about that last point, because I think most people would look at the service you provide as going to the doctor. To me, what I'm hearing from you is a two-way discussion. Sometimes you actually have to interpret what the doctor is implying because there's nothing wrong with what they're suggesting, is the way it's being heard by the patient. There could be just as much of that as it could be the other way around, where the patient feels like they're not being heard.
Very much so. That was one of the biggest surprises when I switched out of my role of being a physician and into my role of being an advocate, is I realized how much doctors imply that patients simply don't understand. They don't catch it. And the smartest people don't speak doctor unless they happen to be a physician. And so
Right.
I often find myself circling back and saying, when the doctor said this, here's the implications of what they were talking about. And then we go through it and there's a deeper understanding.
So yeah, you're an interpreter.
A translator, an interpreter, a
There you
cultural
go.
guide, a little
Well,
bit of
I'm telling you right now, I definitely see the value that of the service you provide, And I was so delighted that we connected. And I realized that for today, there's only so much we can cover, like I said, and we only have really probably scratched the surface on medical navigation and patient advocacy and the services you provide. So I'm really hoping that you'll be able to join us again. In the meantime, for someone who's looking for reaching out to you, looking for your help, what's the best way for them to reach you? How would you recommend they proceed if they want to contact you directly?
So the best way to reach me is to send me an email if it's not urgent. And my email is GM for my initials, Gerda Maissel. So GM@mymdadvisor.com. That's my direct email. They can go to my website and look around, read a little bit about me, and you can contact me. There's email me now on my website, which is www.mymdadvisor.com. I'll also give you my cell phone number and trust your audience not to abuse it. My cell phone, so if it's something urgent, call me. And if I can, I'll pick up, which is 845-316-0175.
You're incredibly generous with sharing all that contact information with us. And I really do appreciate you joining us today. I look forward to staying in touch. And I'm sure there's going to come down the road here. I'm going to, if I don't refer you for a personal family matter, like I probably could have earlier this year, I'm going to be contacting you because I have a client or a family member or a friend that needs your help as well. So Dr. Maissel, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Dr. Gerda Maissel is a physician founder of MyMD Advisor, a medical navigation and patient advocacy service.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to bringing you the 3 Questions webcast, and I hope you find them educational and informative. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. And to receive a notification of when our latest webcast has been posted, please click on the notifications bell. Lastly, to schedule an online Zoom consultation with me to discuss your wealth management needs, please click on the link in the description box below, www.onecapital.com/meet with Wayne. Thank you and see you soon.